Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. It's so greatly appreciated. Truly is. Before we get started, let me give you my usual disclaimer that this video is for educational purposes only. Please do not take what I say as fact. Please always do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Next, if you have not liked, subscribed, or commented yet, please consider doing so. It really helps me out and I really appreciate it. Okay. Next. A huge thank you to my subscriber, Tammy Wilkinson, for asking me to cover this case. I was actually in the process of trying to find things that weren't out there already because this case is so huge. And then all of a sudden the trial started. So it was like the perfect storm. So thank you, Tammy, for suggesting it. And you're just the best. And I love you. Okay. Lastly, as I'm researching, I come across this channel called Jon Chrymes. It's JonChrymes. He did an interview with JoJo's mom, Ruth, and he was kind enough to, I reached out to him, I emailed him, and he was kind enough to let me use parts of his interview with Ruth in here just to, all right, here's the thing. I'm just going to put it out there from the beginning. In my opinion, well, it's my opinion. It's not allegedly, it's my opinion. The girl's mom, Amina and Sarah's mom, lies a lot. She lies a lot, in my opinion. And her story changes a lot. So, I asked him if I could borrow, parts of his interview with Ruth. And he was so gracious. He said, absolutely. So, if you guys get a chance, go over there, check out his channel, subscribe, whatever, he's really nice guy. One last thing, not that I think that Ruth would ever see this, but she is literally the only person that is a voice for Amina and Sarah. She's always been their voice, along with their two aunts, Patricia's sisters, who have spoken out about this and are furious with their sister for what she did. I say that to say, if it was not for her, this story literally would have gone to the wayside. So, you're an amazing person, Ruth. You really, truly are. Okay, now let's start. My initial plan for this case was to just touch on it because it's so well known and then watch the trial and use the trial to fill in some blanks. But as I'm watching this trial, stories are changing, things aren't adding up. One person saying one thing, another person saying another thing. It's very... So, what you thought you knew about this case, there's so much more to it. Let's start. 18-year-old Amina Saeed was born on March 2nd, 1989 in Dallas, Texas. 17-year-old Sarah Saeed was born on March 16th, 1990 in Dallas, Texas. Amina and Sarah, along with their older brother Islam, were born to parents Yaser and Patricia Saeed. Yaser Saeed is the oldest of 5 siblings. Their mother, Patricia, would meet the Saeed family when she was really young, like 13, 14, and they began running the convenience store next to her apartment complex. She originally started dating either the second or third oldest brother, Yaser Saeed, when she was 14 years old. They would end up parting ways after like 5 or 6 months, though. Then right after that, she started dating the oldest Saeed brother, Yaser. Yaser was 15 years her senior, and the family says that Patricia's father was reluctant, but her mother persuaded him to sign the papers to agree to let them get married at 14 because Yaser promised to take care of her, and Patricia was very poor growing up. So after dating for 3 weeks, her parents signed the papers and they got married. Yaser and Patricia were married on February 7th, 1987, when Patricia was 15 and Yaser was 29. Yaser was here on a student visa, so right after the wedding, the couple went and they applied for his green card. Patricia would say that things were great at first, and then 6 to 7 months into their marriage, things would change. He began to control her, and he refused to let her see her family because they were American. He would constantly tell her that it was a mistake to marry an American. He loved America, though. He loved Texas. I'm just saying. Just saying. You're in America. They didn't stop there. Yaser would come home at night and he would kick, this is what Patricia is saying, I should say. Yaser would come home at night and he would kick her in the leg if she was sleeping, dump her clothes out in the middle of the room and make her clean them all up. And if she refused to have intercourse with him, he would put his hands on her. Patricia had her first child, a son named Islam Yaser Saeed, in March of 1988 at just 16 years old. She had Amina at 17 and she had Sarah at 18. After Islam was born, Yaser began driving taxis for work. He was also very unfaithful to Patricia, and there were 6 affairs that she knew of, and he also had a daughter with somebody else before they got married. Amina was described as beautiful, funny, very talkative, very outspoken, and a social butterfly who loved the color pink, which is why we're wearing pink. Actually, it's actually my favorite color, though, too. She was in advanced placement classes, and she had dreams of becoming a doctor. Sarah was described as your textbook tomboy. She was always in jeans and sneakers, and she was very studious. She also took advanced placement classes, and she also planned on going to Texas Tech for college and dreamed of becoming a doctor. I mean, let me just say this. If my kids turn out half as good as these girls, I'll be proud of myself. In 2004, Amina, Sarah, and Islam walk into the Excel Academy of Taekwondo in Bedford, Texas. It would be the beginning of the series of events that would literally rock the nation. Sarah and Islam would actually decide to give up the Taekwondo. It wasn't for them, or it wasn't for Sarah. I guess Islam was probably there to watch her. But Amina decided to stick it out. She liked it. So she stayed with it. So it's here that she would meet and eventually fall in love with Joseph Moreno. The pair exchanged numbers, and Amina would begin texting him just minutes after their class ended that day. They would end up talking and texting back and forth all night long. During their 4-year relationship, the couple would begin planning their life together. Fantasizing about marriage and kids, they promised to learn more about each other's heritage. Amina began picking up Spanish, and Joseph planned to study Arabic with her. Sarah also wanted to become Americanized and began dating an American boy named Eric. Yaser forbade the girls to date, and he would keep tabs on them all the time. It became so bad that Amina had to come up with a secret code for Joseph, the number 7. She told Joseph that if she texts him a number 7, that means that she believes that her father is going to take her phone and go through it. Do not answer phone calls from her. Do not answer text messages from her, no matter what. Sure enough, Amina texts Joseph a number 7 one day. That night, he begins getting text messages from Amina like, "Hey, what's up?" or "Can we hang out?" Joseph ignores them all. The following day at Taekwondo class, Amina tells Joseph that Yaser took her phone and he was texting all of her contacts that night to prove that she was dating boys. He had planned to take the girls to Egypt and have them both marry much older men, like much, much older men. Strangers, basically. After Yaser finds a note between Amina and Joseph, he decides to purchase a home in Fort Worth, Texas, which is about 60 miles away from Dallas, making it virtually impossible for them to see each other.
Did Yaser become aware that she was hanging out with this guy, Joseph? sorry.
At some point, did you abruptly move to Louisville around this time?
We did move to Louisville, yes.
Okay. And this was, do you remember when?
I would say 2006.
Okay. But it was during the girl's school year?
Yeah.
Okay. And it was around the time that she was seeing this Joseph kid. Would that be true? The karate classes?
Yes.
And Yaser Saeed made the decision to uproot the entire family and move from Bedford to Louisville, correct?
Yes.
Did he give a reason why to you?
That he wanted to move closer to his job.
His job. What was his job?
At that time he was driving a taxi.
Okay.
Did she explain to you why she moved from Bedford to Louisville with her family?
Yes.
What was the explanation that you understood? As you understand it, what was the reason?
Her father had found out about a previous boyfriend named Joseph, and he wanted to move him away from that previous boyfriend.
During the first day of trial, the girl's teacher at the time, Renee Hopkins, takes the stand, and she shares an email that was sent to her just before the girls decided to run away from home.
This was December the 21st of 2007, correct?
That is correct.
At 10:20 p.m. December 21st of 2007 would encompass the school Christmas break or holiday break.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, Your Honor. All right. And again, this email came from Amina Saeed at pinkangelamina@hotmail.com.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to show this to the jury and read it. Hey, Ms. Hopkins, it's Amina. Sarah and I were talking, and we're having a lot of issues at home. We both decided that you're the only person that we can 100% trust. I know this may jeopardize your job, and you're an amazing woman. If you do not get involved, we will not hold it against you. Please feel no pressure. And I trust this email will remain confidential. I don't want police involved until we are totally ready. God, I am so scared right now, it's crazy. Okay, well, as you know, we're not allowed to date, and my dad is arranging our marriage. My dad said that I cannot put it off anymore, and I have to get married this year, that I cannot attend college without getting married. Again, Mrs. Hopkins, I'm confiding in you as a mother. Please keep this between us. Please, I know my dad, and I know when to act. Please. Okay, so Sarah and I have both decided that we do not hate heirs, but we do not want to live by the culture or marry men from over there, especially men we don't know or love. We have had each other's backs and have been dating. We don't know if it's love or infatuation, but point is, we want our chance. My dad began checking phone records, and he took my sister in the room and specifically threatened to, quote, hurt her very badly, close quote, if she didn't tell us what was going on. When we were younger, he used to do things, and he started hinting at them again. Look, I could go on forever. He's simply made our lives a nightmare. He's one man, not God. Someone should be able to stop him. He can't torment us this way. He shouldn't. Anyways, we are running away, hopefully before the break ends. I know that he will search until he finds us, and he will, without any drama or doubt, kill us. I am worried for my mother, but she would tell him out of fear. We can't bring her, and I can only hope she doesn't get hurt. We love you, Ms. Hopkins, and feel like you understand us. All that I'm asking you to do is go talk to all of mine, and especially Sarah's teachers, and tell them not to relay any information to my parents whatsoever, please. Also, is it illegal for Sarah to leave? She's only 17. How will we finish school? And can he track us from that? Should we change our names? Please help us out. Thank you so much for everything. Wish us luck. Again, Mrs. Hopkins, we will get the law involved. Again, Mrs. Hopkins, we will get the law involved, so please keep this between us. We need our chance to get settled, because when he goes to jail, his brothers will step in. If we have to think this through, you don't know how they think. Heck, I live with them and still don't understand it. Life goes on. And so, Mrs. Hopkins, after you gave this email to the people at your school, correct?
Yes.
All right. Did you hear from Amina or Sarah after this?
No.
When did you come to find out about the murders?
On the news.
Patricia, Amina, and Sarah all began working at Kroger's grocery store. Sarah's boyfriend, Eric Paramino, takes the stand next. He worked with the girls at Kroger's.
Here, he's keeping an eerie watch on Sarah at work.
She smiled to the customers.
Bubba, she has to. Part of her job.
She's in trouble.
He describes Sarah as a bubbly tomboy princess that dressed well and had a kind heart. You could tell he really cared about her. He cared about this girl. He really cared about Sarah. You could tell. It comes through.
Like, she really tried to help people out. I don't know if it was just how she was or because it's what she liked to do, but she helped me out too, so. She was really nice.
Did you love Sarah, Eric?
Yes.
Did y'all make promises to each other
Yes.
about your futures together?
Yes.
What were some of those promises?
She said she was going to go to college. I said I was going to do my best. Hopefully down the road we have kids. I said I wanted a girl. She said she didn't really care. But we talked about going to the same college. So she wanted me to get my grades up so I could join her.
Y'all gonna get married?
Yes.
When asked about why he ran away with the girls and Patricia, he testified that he didn't want to leave Sarah alone. He testified that he loved Sarah. He wanted to marry Sarah at some point, and he was not going to leave her alone. If she was going, he was going to go with her. Okay. Next up, Edgar Ruiz is a 20-year-old college student who was a frequent visitor at Kroger's. He would meet and chat with and then eventually start dating Amina Saeed. Truth, when I first watched it, I thought that like the news screwed up the names because I saw him before I saw Sarah's boyfriend. All right, let me give you this context, this story. So, okay. Amina and Joseph were very much together. They were very much in love. They were very serious. They were going to be married. So, Amina did everything in her power to protect him because she truly loved him. And that's what you do when you love somebody. You protect them at all costs. So, shortly before her death, she began to erase Joseph from her life so that if she did get out and she went to go be with him, that they wouldn't be looking at Joseph because they would think that he was long gone. They wouldn't go to him first. I don't know if Edgar was in on this plan. I don't know that, but he takes the stand. He claims that he was dating Amina, that they were very much in love, that they were sexually active with each other, and that they were going to get married. I don't believe that part at all. I don't even believe that she was sexually active with him. I don't believe it for a second. I don't. Nope.
Did you have sexual relations with Amina in your relationship?
I'll object to answer that question.
Sir, you cannot make any objections here. You answer the questions. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the attorneys make the objections. You answer what you're asked. All right?
Apologize, Miss, Your Honor.
So to be clear, it's a yes or no question. Did you and Amina have sexual relations during your relationship?
Yes.
Edgar claims that he met Amina because he was a customer at the grocery store in July of 2017 and that they began dating in August of 2017. He says that Amina told him that she couldn't text, talk on the phone, go on dates, or hang out, which is much different than her relationship with Joseph. He claims that once school started, Amina signed up for tennis classes, for fourth period. Then he says that she decided to drop the class and she would end up spending fourth period with him every day, which was 1 hour Monday through Friday. That they would go hang out, have ice cream, and he says sleep together. Again, I don't believe it. I just don't.
Okay, so she initially signed up because she wanted to do tennis.
Correct.
And then she dropped it, and that's how you guys were able to spend time together.
Yes.
How long would the class be?
About an hour, 25 minutes, whatever fourth period is,
Every day?
Monday to Friday.
While dating, Amina tells Edgar about the things that are going on at home and how she couldn't take it anymore and how she was going to run away. So she had originally planned to run away by herself. Then he claims that he told her, you cannot leave your sister behind. So after talking her into it, she decides to take her sister with her. Then he testifies that he convinced the girls to take Patricia with them because Patricia is their mother and that's what mothers are supposed to do, is take care of their children. He's right there. But that's not what she does. That's what parents are supposed to do. A parent's number one job. Not Patricia's, in my opinion. It angers me that she calls herself their mother. It just does. It angers me that she even sits there and calls herself their mother. Whatever. Okay, so then after this, Sarah's boyfriend decides that he's going to go along because he doesn't want to leave Sarah. And then that's when Edgar says that he decides to up and abandon his college education and run away with Amina. He says that he begged his parents for help or some money. Eventually, he's able to convince them to let him borrow a gray Ford F-150 truck. Okay.
You mentioned the Honda. What did you do with the Honda?
Put it in Edgar's garage.
So Edgar's family was supportive of all this?
Yes.
How long had you known Edgar before you decided to get in this truck with them and move to a different state?
A couple of months.
And you thought that was an appropriate move with Edgar and Eric and your daughters?
Yes.
Patricia takes $4,000 from Yaser's emergency cash fund, and Patricia hides the car in Edgar's parents' garage, so Yaser wouldn't find it when they took off.
Did Patricia have a lot of cash with her at the time?
I don't know.
Did you see any cash?
No, I didn't see any. I was not focused on that as well.
So when y'all went shopping, who was paying for things, for furniture?
We shopped differently. Like, I went with Sarah, found things we needed.
And you paid for that furniture when you were with Sarah?
Yes.
And then Edgar and Amina, did they go together and go shopping?
I'm not really too sure.
Did you ever go shopping with them?
No.
Before you leave, do you take any money?
Yeah, I did.
How much money?
I believe it was $4,000.
$4,000.
Yes.
That Mr. Saeed kept?
Yes.
Okay, but y'all are married?
Yes.
You said that there was some money that they had. It was like $5,000, right?
$4,000 to $5,000, yes.
And that money came from Yaser, is that right?
Correct.
So Edgar, Patricia, Amina, Sarah, and Sarah's boyfriend Eric take off on December 23rd, 2007. Okay. Some say December 23rd. Patricia says December 25th.
The plan to run away, and by that, what did you put in place to run away?
I told the girls to put clothes in a trash bag.
Okay, you gotta speak up on this.
Oh.
This is important. You
I'm
told the
sorry.
girls to put clothes in the trash bag.
Yes, so that, so when we could, we just could grab the bags and throw them in the car and leave.
Okay, and you thought this would be less suspicious to the defendant. Why?
Because we would donate clothes to the needy.
Okay,
So
you told the girls to put the clothes in the trash bags because it would be less suspicious because he would think you're donating clothes.
yes,
Okay, and what were you waiting on? What were you waiting on in order to get out?
for him to leave to go to work.
Okay, did he work here and there?
He just worked whenever he wanted.
Okay. But it was important for you for him to be out of the house when y'all left.
Yes.
How many days did it take for him to finally go to work?
I believe it was 4.
4 days? And what day did he finally go to work?
Christmas Day.
All right, around what time?
It was in the evening.
Okay, evening.
Yes.
Like dark out.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so you don't tell your son, they don't tell their brothers because he would have contacted Yaser Saeed.
Yes, ma'am.
So Islam's there though on Christmas Day in the evening after Yaser goes to work.
Yes.
What do you tell him?
That we was going to go to Quick Trip and get a drink.
Go get a drink.
Yeah.
Okay, so you lied to your son
I did not to my son.
to get the girls out of there.
Yes.
Do you recall getting information that Patricia and the girls were on the run?
Yes.
Okay? And from whom? Who called you?
Tizzy.
And who is Tizzy?
Patricia, my sister.
Okay, that's her nickname?
Yes.
Do you remember about when she called you?
She called me on December 23rd.
Of 2007?
Yes.
When do you next talk to Patricia? Without going into what you said, but when do you next make contact with her?
The same day, around 3 hours later.
What is her demeanor like then?
She's more relaxed.
Okay?
See what I mean? They first stop at Patricia's sister's house for the night, but they end up deciding not to stay there.
Patricia's family members,
Did you get to meet them?
shook their hands. That's about it.
And so, when y'all went to Kansas, everybody met Patricia's family members, but then the girls didn't want to stay there, right?
Yeah.
Why didn't they want to stay there?
They didn't feel safe
Because why?
because they felt that any place that's connected to her dad in some form or fashion, or he knows of it, could mean that they'll be found and taken back.
So, in that statement to police, it explains, or there were explanations to the police that y'all left Kansas because they didn't like the mobile home and they didn't want to live inside the mobile home. Is that right? Or is that wrong when the police say that's the reason for leaving Kansas?
I don't know.
Your position is that because of safety reasons.
Yes.
Why did you go to Kansas?
Her Aunt Jill lives over there. Or lives over there right now.
Who's Aunt Jill?
Patricia's sister.
Did y'all stay overnight in Kansas?
I can't remember.
Did you ultimately leave Kansas?
Yes, we did.
Do you know why?
Yes, in a small town, no schools, no job opportunities, no careers. It's a very small town. We didn't like it there.
Okay, but then you detour to
Kansas.
why? Why?
We were going to go stay with one of my aunts,
What's your aunt's name?
Jill.
All right, and do you get to the aunt's house?
Yes.
All right. Once you get to the aunt's house, what do y'all decide as a group?
That we wasn't going to stay there, that the place we was going to stay was not livable.
Okay.
So, the following morning, December 24th, 2007, they all leave and continue driving towards Tulsa, Oklahoma, so that Edgar's family and friends can help them assume new identities.
Okay, and then after y'all left Kansas for that reason, y'all went off to Oklahoma, right?
Yes.
And y'all, they didn't know anybody in Oklahoma, neither did you.
Correct.
That's what you're saying right now.
Yes.
Back to the original plan. She go to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Where you have family?
Correct.
When they finally reach Tulsa, though, they decide instead to rent an apartment for a year. Edgar puts the apartment under his name and signs the lease, but he can't remember if the apartment was 1 bedroom or 2 bedrooms. They all had plans to find jobs because nobody had one and split the rent and all the bills.
Who got the apartment?
And we all contribute. But I think it was,
Financially?
yes,
Was everybody gonna work?
Yes, that was the plan. Everybody would work and contribute to rent and bills.
From there, they all go food shopping and shopping for furniture. Christmas Day 2007, after months of not hearing from Amina, she finally gets in touch with Joseph to tell him that her, Sarah, and her mom had decided to leave Yaser. She tells him that it's too soon to give him the details right now, but that she will be getting back in touch with him soon and that she loved him. They're going to run away together after Amina was finished with school, and they were going to get married.
Ruth, how do you feel the girls truthfully felt about their mother?
I think they honestly love their mother and their father despite the horrors they endured. I mean, look, they didn't have to take her with them, and they did because they believed that she truly wanted to leave him, although she had left him and went back many times. They wanted to give her a chance of freedom as well. So I truly believe they love their mom, despite whatever she wasn't, both parents. I really think they cared for their parents.
December 29th, 2017. Edgar's parents drive to Tulsa, Oklahoma to pick him up for a family party. The reason his parents drove to Tulsa to pick him up was so that he could leave the car with Patricia and the girls. I wonder how important this family party must have been for you to go back while you're on the run with the love of your life, trying to keep her safe, and you just signed your name to a year-long lease that you're now responsible for.
She was a nice, sweet young lady that you wanted to marry.
Correct.
I don't understand why that you didn't take Amina to your party with your parents. That night on New Year's Eve, you said your family had a big party. Why didn't she go with you?
She was there at the New Year's Eve party. She didn't come to the party on the 30th, on the 29th on Saturday, December 29th of 2008.
Yeah.
She was not allowed to come. Patricia was not okay with it.
This wouldn't last long, though, because the following day, December 30th, 2007, Patricia buckled and decided to take the girls back to Yaser, lying to them, telling them that she wanted to go to the cemetery to visit her mom and to the post office.
Why didn't she, what was your understanding of why she was going back home?
Patricia said that everything was okay at home, that she was coming back to visit her sister Connie, run some errands, go to the post office.
The weird stuff that you thought was kind of odd, right? Visiting the mom's grave and stuff.
Yes, she had mentioned she will visit her mom's grave, that they had no contact in the last 10 years, but she was going to go see her.
But when Patricia takes the stand, she says the reason that she took the girls back to Dallas was because of school.
What was she upset about?
I'm not for sure. Well, I think because she was going back to the house.
She didn't want to go back to the house.
No, she didn't.
Why did you bring her back to that house, Patricia?
Because she wanted to finish her school.
Okay.
I talked to Amina on January 1st.
Okay? The day of the murder. Calls who?
Amina calls me.
And what is Amina's demeanor in that moment? How was she acting?
Frank.
What did Amina tell you?
She asked me if I knew that her mom went back to her dad. I said, no, I didn't know.
Did she say anything else?
Yes, she did.
What did she say?
She said that her mom was wanting her to come back home. She didn't want to go back home. She'd rather be dead than to ever go back there.
She wanted to let them finish their schooling, and then they were going to return back to Oklahoma. Really, Patricia? They don't have schools in Tulsa.
Were the girls reluctant to go back?
They didn't want to go back, but on the other hand, they did because they wanted to finish the school year.
Okay. They were conflicted.
Yeah.
Were they scared to go back?
They didn't say that they were scared.
She said that her mom was wanting her to come back home. She didn't want to go back home. She'd rather be dead than to ever go back there.
I'm just saying, school can't be that important if you're dead. Put them in school in Tulsa. Come on. I can't with this woman. She makes me so pissed off. Okay. She claims that the girls felt better about going home after they spoke to their father, and he told them that everything would be okay. Just come home and finish school.
After she graduated high school, we were going to move back to Oklahoma.
Okay. But where were you going to live while they were in school?
We in the house in Louisville.
With Yaser?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it Yaser Saeed that told you that the girls needed to come back and finish school?
He said they would come because school's important, and I said, I know.
Okay. So he's the one that brought this up to you?
Yes.
Okay. So he told you everything would be all right and the girls needed to be back in school?
Yes, and that he would leave.
This also wasn't the first time that Patricia left Yaser. Her sister testified that she would leave him several times, but she would always go back to him shortly after, beginning when the girls were just infants. Her mother even purchased a home that Yaser had no idea about, so Patricia and the girls could use it as like a safe haven. Patricia was even able to get an apartment once, but it didn't last. Her sister would testify that the longest Patricia stayed away from Yaser was for about 4 months. One of the times in 1999, the girls made allegations of SA by their father. Then they would end up recanting the story. I just don't want to get into this because I feel like their names are dragged through the mud so much. Especially, not even that their names are dragged through the mud. Maybe that's not the right words. But the thing with Edgar taking the stand and saying that, yes, he was sleeping with Amina, it just, I don't even want to go there anymore. Yes, it happened. Yes, they recanted it. Yes, I believe them. I believe that they were forced to do it. I believe that their mother forced them to do it. And I believe that they had no choice. And I stand by that.
This is him again behind the camera.
Nice legs. I got this. Take this blanket from this one in the back.
No!
Go.
No! Get away!
Take.
No!
The girls told police they were scared of what he might do one day.
Get out!
So, they're back in Dallas. Patricia takes them back to Dallas. Their first stop is to Edgar's parents' home so that Patricia could switch the cars. Patricia and Sarah leave and go to Denny's to meet Yaser and Islam.
So you and Sarah meet Yaser and Islam at Denny's?
Yes.
Okay, and this is New Year's Eve?
Yes.
Okay. And how does Yaser act when you get there?
He acted like himself.
What do you mean himself? Was he nice?
Yeah, he was nice. And
What did he do? How did he greet you?
he just, when he came in, sit down, and then started talking to Sarah, asking Sarah how was she, and he was glad that, she's back.
Did he ask you where Amina was?
Yes.
Did you tell him?
I told him that she was with her friend.
You didn't tell him that she was with a boy?
No.
Amina stays with Edgar and Sarah's boyfriend returns home. So then that night, which is December 31st, 2007, Edgar and Amina go to another family party, according to Edgar, that his family was having, and then they go back to his house to go to sleep. After Patricia, Sarah, Yaser, and Islam return home from Denny's, Patricia claims that she told Yaser they went to Oklahoma and that he said okay. It seems a little hard to believe, but then she goes on to say that he took Sarah outside to speak to her privately. She was not aware what they spoke about, but she did hear them laughing and joking together. Maybe. You know what? Maybe. Maybe that is true because he was trying to get her to drop her guard. That would make sense to me, I have to say. It's the only thing that would make sense to me.
The next day, he had a habit of chewing on the side of his cheek, and he would do that. But
what did that indicate to you?
that
Why are you bringing that up?
That's one sign that when he was angry.
That's how you knew he was becoming more angry, so he would chew the inside of his
Mhm.
cheek.
Mhm.
So you would look for those signs.
Yes.
Okay. Did you start doing that on January 1st? I'm sorry. Did you understand my question? Do I need to ask it again?
Please.
Okay. He started doing that more on January 1st, chewing on his cheek
Yes.
that you were aware of?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. January 1st, 2008. Edgar gets a text from Sarah early in the morning telling him that Patricia wants Amina to come home. That's when Amina realizes that Patricia had once again gone back to Yaser. Amina and Edgar ignore Patricia's calls all day.
All right. And what are you asking her to do?
To ask her if she was ready to come home.
Okay. And she didn't want to come home?
No.
Did you ask Sarah to contact her?
No, I did not. But Amina and Sarah had contact with each other.
Okay. So you didn't ask Sarah to contact and tell Amina to come home or tell Amina to call you?
No.
How many times would you say you had contact with Amina during that day of New Year's Day, January 1, 2008?
3 or 4.
3 or 4. And during those times, are you asking her when she's coming home?
No, I asked her on a couple of times, when does she want me to pick her up?
Okay. And what did she say to you?
That she'd call me when she got ready.
At around 5 or 6 p.m., Patricia shows up at Edgar's house, demanding Amina to come home with her, telling Amina we're running out of time. Edgar testifies that he let her in and that he begged Patricia not to take her. That's when Patricia grabbed her by the arm and pulled her out of the
And you had
house.
said that Patricia said, come on, we're running out of time.
Correct.
When she came to your home to get Amina. And what did, you spent a lot of time with them those days. What did that mean, running out of time? You already found an apartment that was furnished, so what time was running out?
I still don't know the answer to that. You might want to ask her that.
Okay. What about, you didn't ask that question when you were present in front of her?
I did not know.
And he said it was the last time you would see her, and when she was leaving, she told you that you failed her.
Correct.
He goes on to testify that Amina didn't want to go with her and that her last words to him were, "You failed me and you're never going to see me again." He's then asked if he was under the belief that Amina meant that he was never going to see her again because they were breaking up, or if he was under the belief that Amina meant that you're never going to see me again because my father's going to kill me. It does seem rather odd that he watched the love of his life, the woman that he was going to marry, apparently. I can't. Get pulled out of that house, not intervene, and or at the very least not call 911. What?
The majority of the time that Amina was with us, she was a minor. So our hands were kind of tied, because of Child Protective Services, or they would have filed kidnapping charges on us, which I wouldn't have minded, but that would have left Amina alone. And I wasn't willing to take that chance. So we were going to wait till they graduated before she came to be with us. But sadly, that did not happen.
And he said it was the last time you would see her, and when she was leaving, she told you that you failed her.
Correct.
And how did that make you feel?
I was disappointed.
How did that make you feel after telling your parents, I want to go against what y'all think, thank you for the truck, I'm going to drive this whole family to Kansas, and then drive the whole family to Tulsa, furnish the apartment, put your name on that lease, and then they were like, no, we don't want to do that anymore. We don't care.
Yeah, I've been taught that if you can help somebody, you if it's in your means, you help somebody. All I do is just help.
How did that make you feel when you did all that, and then that's what happened?
I felt great that I did my best at the time that I could help someone.
So the love of your life saying, you failed me, I'm never going to see you again. You didn't pick up the phone to call 911, right?
Correct.
You didn't call 911.
I did not.
When y'all, the story you gave yesterday was you and your dad went to Richardson Police Department to go bail out a family member.
We went to the Richardson area to bail out a family member.
Okay. At the jail?
In jail, correct.
Where the police are?
Correct.
And you didn't tell any police officer there, hey, this weird stuff just happened. I have this weird gut in my feeling. Like you explained yesterday, you didn't tell anybody at that police station?
I did not know.
You don't even remember the color of the cab, right?
I do not.
It gets worse. It gets so much worse. It gets so much worse. Okay. He goes on to say that he would end up seeing Amina 20 to 30 minutes later after she left the house. Okay, why? So, the night before at the New Year's Eve party, he says that his uncle was rowdy at the party and he ended up getting arrested. So after Amina is pulled out of the house by Patricia, his father comes to him and he asks him to go down to the police station with him so that they could bail out the uncle. Okay. You know what? Let's just go with it, okay? So they're driving down to the jail to bail out the uncle. Well, you know that the love of your life is being driven to her death. But that's okay. They're stopped at a red light. They see a cab pass with Amina, Sarah, and Yaser in the cab. He claims that he follows them for a little bit, but not because he was following them, because that they were going in the same direction. He stops following them when they turn off to go to the police station to bail out the uncle. And he says that that would be the last time that he sees Amina alive.
When Amina was taken from your parents' house by Patricia, you said taken by the hand, 18-year-old girl taken by the hand and pulled out of that home by her mom.
I did.
And that's kind of like kidnapping, right?
I'm not sure.
Did it look like Amina wanted to go with Patricia?
She did not want to go with Patricia.
And you didn't call the cops at that time, right?
There's no harm in forcing someone to pulling someone out the door.
There's no harm in forcing somebody out of the door and taking them where they don't want to go?
Yeah, I can't make that judgment.
Okay. If your dad said, did your parents ever say in front of you, like, Amina, you should go home, it's the right thing to do?
They did not.
So, Edgar failed Amina, the love of his life, the woman he was going to marry, not once, but twice in less than 40 minutes. Okay?
The night that you went and spoke to the police on January 1st of 2008, you said that you and Eric were sitting at an intersection in Louisville around 7 o'clock p.m., but that you were not sure of the exact time. Is that true?
That's not true.
That's not true.
Correct.
It says here that Edgar said they went on to Old 121 after seeing Amina and Sarah in the taxi with their father. So they decided to follow them. Is that correct?
Can you repeat the question?
Edgar said they saw Amina and Sarah in the taxi with their father. So they decided to follow them.
Correct.
So you and Eric are the ones that followed Amina and Sarah that evening.
No, me and my dad.
Do you recall saying that you were in the car with Eric and y'all decided to follow Sarah and everybody else in the taxi that night?
I was not in the car with Eric.
And your statement, your testimony today and yesterday is that you were in the car with your dad.
Correct.
Why wouldn't you keep following her? Or at the very least, tell the cops what's going on? The defense actually does bring this to his attention, and he has two responses. One, that jail is not always safer than the streets. In this case, it absolutely was. Okay? And that he tried to help her as much as he could, but there wasn't much more that he could do for her. There's a lot more you could have done for her, dude. A lot more. You just didn't want to because you're a fucking liar and she's not the love of your life. Okay? You didn't give a shit about her. Let's just keep it real. Just keep it real. And how do you go on a stand and I can't. Oh my God, I can't do it. It makes me so mad. I don't understand how you could speak like that about somebody, especially somebody that you're going to marry. I could not watch a stranger get driven to their death and do nothing about it, let alone the person I'm madly in love with. Just doesn't add up. Does not add up.
The majority of the time that Amina was with us, she was a minor. So our hands were kind of tied, because of Child Protective Services, or they would have filed kidnapping charges on us, which I wouldn't have minded, but that would have left Amina alone. And I wasn't willing to take that chance. So we were going to wait till they graduated before she came to be with us. But sadly, that did not happen.
And you said it was the last time you would see her, and when she was leaving, she told you that you failed her.
Correct.
And how did that make you feel?
I was disappointed.
How did that make you feel after telling your parents I want to go against what y'all think. Thank you for the truck. I'm going to drive this whole family to Kansas and then drive the whole family to Tulsa, furnish the apartment, put your name on that lease, and then they were like, no, we don't want to do that anymore. We don't care.
Yeah, I've been taught that if you can help somebody, if it's in your means, you help somebody. All I do is just help.
How did that make you feel when you did all that and then that's what happened?
I felt great that I did my best at the time that I could help someone.
So the love of your life saying, you failed me, I'm never going to see you again. You didn't pick up the phone to call 911, right?
Correct.
You didn't call 911.
I did not.
When y'all, the story you gave yesterday was you and your dad went to Richardson Police Department to go bail out a family member.
We went to the Richardson area to bail out a family member.
Okay. At the jail?
In jail, correct.
Where the police are?
Correct.
And you didn't tell any police officer there, hey, you know, this weird stuff just happened. I have this weird gut in my feeling. Like you explained yesterday, you didn't tell anybody at that police station?
I did not know.
You don't even remember the color of the cab, right?
I do not.
You know who would have done something? Joseph would have done something because he truly loved her. Because they truly loved each other. You did not love her. You were not in love with her. You were not dating her. You were not going to marry her. And you were not sleeping with her. That is my stance all day, every day. And this is even more proof to me that I'm correct. All right, next to the stand is Detective Kevin Hubbard. Detective Hubbard happened to be the person that answers Sarah Saeed's 911 call. The defense literally tried everything to stop this 911 call from being heard. From saying that because Sarah Saeed never stated that that was her name, that the state could not prove that this was Sarah Saeed's dying declaration. And therefore, it's not relevant to the case. Well, the judge is a queen. Okay, she is. She's a queen because she overrules it, as she should, and she allows the tape to be played. So I'm going to play it for you. The actual call is like over 4 minutes. Most of it's silence. But the speaking part is very short, so I'm going to play that. So if you don't want to hear, just skip ahead a little bit.
What is said, and I'll play it, and then I'm going to ask you what is said when you first pick up the call.
Right now, what are you ready? What's going on, man? I'm dying. Okay, let me answer you. I need to get some, sorry, hold on, okay, hold on, okay.
And for the record, I'm stopping the call at 36 seconds.
The only information I had from the phone call that I heard on the radio was that I'm dying. That is the only thing I heard from the phone call itself.
Okay. What do you hear as you preparation for your testimony here today? What do you hear on the call today?
I would ask that you play it again.
Okay.
Right now, what are you ready? What's going on, man? I'm dying. Okay, let me answer you. I need to get some, sorry, hold on, okay, hold on, okay.
For the record, I'm stopping the recording again at 36 seconds. Were you able to ascertain then what you heard?
I can tell you what I hear now
Yes.
in reviewing it. In the recording on the 911, it says, "Help, my dad shot me, I'm dying." At some point, I ask her what's going on. She says that I'm dying, that's what's up. And then at some point she pleads, stop it, stop it, stop it.
It's hard to watch a seasoned detective get choked up over that, right? Especially when their mother doesn't. Their mother doesn't get choked up. Strangers get choked up. I got choked up. People that have never met these girls get choked up. Their mother, she does not shed a tear in the courtroom. Anyway, in the courtroom, she's on the stand. She does not shed a tear, not one tear. Something happened to my kids, God forbid if something happened to my kids, you'd have to put me in a padded fucking room, okay? You would have to put me in a padded room. This bitch never sheds a tear on the stand. I don't care how long it's been. I can't with this. I'm sorry, guys, I'm sorry. Okay, next, take the stand. A retired detective named Rocky Causey. He was asked to go over to the Saeed family home that night to do a welfare check on the girls. He goes to the home and he finds Patricia and Islam at the home. Patricia tells the officer that her girls and their father are out at dinner having a talk. Okay, at this point, officers have no idea where Sarah's call was made from, just a general area. And with this limited amount of information, finding the person in distress could take quite a bit of time. But then meanwhile, over at the Omni Hotel at the Mandalay, in the taxi stand, there were two cars waiting online. Yaser's friend's yellow taxi cab and then a cab behind him, okay? Yaser's car is not moving. So the taxi behind him gets out and he walks around. And when he walks around, that's when he sees Amina Saeed in the front seat of the car and Sarah Saeed in the back seat of the car. And then he runs to get help.
She has blood coming from her ear.
So this is where I guess it kind of got a little tricky because nobody and no cameras saw Yaser that night. Okay? So I believe, along with so many others, that he had people waiting for him in the wing and he just parked that car, he got out, he had somebody pick him up and he was out, okay? Plus it was dark, plus it wasn't like anybody was told to be on the lookout for him. So, truth be told, I could pass you, then pass you again 30 minutes later and not have no idea that I passed you already. Maybe it's just me, but unless something like sticks out to me, you know, during our encounter or something, I tend to be in my own little world, and I wouldn't know. So maybe people did see him there, but I don't know. Either way, I don't believe that finding 0 eyewitnesses proves anything when you have Sarah Saeed on the phone literally telling you who did this to her, along with the years of ABUSC witnessed by an astounding amount of people. When officers arrive at the scene, they check for signs of life, but there's none. So while they're waiting for the medical examiner to come remove the girls from the car, the detectives clear the scene. They declare it a crime scene, and they make sure that nothing becomes contaminated. After the girls are removed, the car is towed down to the lot for further investigation. They find shell casings all over the inside of the car, but most telling were the shots that Sarah had suffered in the back seat, okay? There were 3 holes in the wheel well of the car that were exit points for the bullets. No casings were found around the car. So, when asked by the prosecution what that means, Detective Bracey, a crime scene investigator, said that that means that the murder happened somewhere else and that the car was driven to the spot where it was found, which makes sense because there were 11 shots fired. Amina was shot 2 times and Sarah was shot 9 times. And because of the 911 call, we know that Amina died first. Patricia Owens, the girl's mother, and I say that loosely. I do. I'm sorry. I say that loosely. She takes the stand. Okay. I want to be somewhat nice because she may have experienced some DV in that home, you know, so I can't truly speak on their marriage. On the other hand, I firmly believe that she failed both of those girls. She had a responsibility as their mother to keep them safe, and she forced them back into the very thing they had finally escaped from. That bitch needs to be behind bars. She just does. I'm sorry. She needs to be locked up. For something, anything. I think that bitch needs to be locked up. I just do. Along with this, watching her testify was literally giving me feelings like this bitch is still trying to protect Yaser. At one point, it felt to me anyway that the prosecution had to literally rip the answers from her. And even then, it was a little half-assed.
Do you know, or were you there? Did he confront Amina or Sarah about dating either Edgar or Eric?
No.
Sometime though in December of 2007, the girls decided they want to run away.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you find out about this?
They told me.
They told you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you recall when this was?
It was in December. I believe it was a week before Christmas.
A week or so before Christmas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did they tell you why they wanted to run away?
Because they wanted to be able to do or date Eddie and Eric, or Edgar and Eric.
Okay. Eddie being Edgar.
Yes.
Okay. They wanted to date them.
Yes.
Did they give you any other reasons?
Just dated.
Why did they feel like they needed to run away from home?
Objecting to meeting your honor.
Why? Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you, Your Honor. Why?
Because Yaser, we thought Yaser found out that they were dating those boys.
Okay. What were they scared he would do?
I'm not for sure.
Okay. They were scared enough to run away?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the plan? Did anything happen specifically right before to make the girls want to leave?
I don't remember.
Okay. They didn't tell you about anything specific that made them want to leave?
Oh, yes, ma'am. They said they were going to run away.
Was there something specific that happened that they told you to make them want to run away?
Sarah said that Yaser had threatened Amina.
Okay. He had threatened Amina?
Yes, ma'am.
What did he threaten her with? It's okay. You don't have to give me exact dates, Ms. Owens. I know that's hard. This was before they ran away, though.
Yes.
Okay. Did defendant keep a gun in the house?
Yes.
Did Yaser Saeed keep a gun in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were you aware of this gun?
Yes.
Do you have any idea what kind of gun it was?
I don't remember.
You don't remember what type of gun?
No, ma'am.
Was it a hand?
Yes, ma'am.
So after this threat with the gun, and did they tell you why he threatened?
No, she didn't say why they threatened her with a gun.
Did you confront Yaser Saeed about what he did to the girls?
No, I knew better not to, because then he would have got abusive toward me.
Okay. You knew better not to.
Yes.
When they questioned Patricia about Joseph, she claims that Amina and Joseph were not together at the time, that Amina was engaged to Edgar, and that her and Edgar were going to get married.
For Kansas and Oklahoma, are you aware that Amina is still in communication with Joseph Moreno?
No.
You had no idea of that?
No, she was not.
Is your testimony that she absolutely was not in contact with Joseph Moreno at that time?
When we left and went, to my knowledge, she was not in touch with Joseph.
So you wouldn't be aware that Joseph and Amina had put this plan together to ultimately reunite at some point?
How can they reunite? Amina and Edgar was engaged.
They were engaged?
Yes.
He proposed to her?
Yes, and so was Eric and Sarah.
When were those proposals?
When it was before we left, not too, probably 3 or 4 weeks before we left.
So there was an official proposal and both girls said yes?
Yes.
If Joseph and Amina were just friends, and she was in fact engaged to Edward Ruiz, and the couple had plans to marry, then why is the brother starting a fight with Joseph at the wake? He should be fighting Edgar at the wake. Okay, let me take that back. Because in truth, nobody should be fighting at anybody's wake. But I'm just saying, at the very least, let's just say, for argument's sake, that Islam had no idea about Edgar, and he truly thought that Joseph was the one that Amina was still dating, which she was, whatever. Why wouldn't you, as their mother, Patricia, do everything in your power to make sure that, to stop an argument? To at the very least give these girls a proper send-off. Why are you not doing everything in your power to stop, to calm your son down? Take your son outside. Get your son taken outside to calm his ass down and let these girls have a proper send-off. But you don't do that. You start arguing at their wake as well. So not only did you fail them in life, you failed them in death. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. I think that she is a disgrace. And I think that she has no right to call herself the mother of those girls. I don't.
Ruth, have you spoken to Patricia?
I have not. The last time I was face to face with Patricia was at the wake of Amina and Sarah. Patricia and I never really even had a relationship when they were dating, when Amina and Sarah were still alive. She was always indifferent, and then my opinion was formed of her on what Amina had told me, and well, I think we all kind of know that.
Yeah.
She didn't talk to us. We didn't talk to her. It wasn't until Islam started yelling and screaming and cussing at my son Joseph and telling him to get out because he killed them. It was his doing. He did it. And then she started yelling and screaming at us. And I even said it then. I said, Patricia,
wow,
you know the truth, and the truth will come out one day. And if you would have had a pinpoint of care like you're seeming to now, when they were alive, they might still be alive. And in case you haven't been keeping up with current events, your husband, their father, Yaser, is the one that executed them. And then they took that for my son, and we had to leave. And we weren't allowed back, not even for the funeral the next day.
Next, take the stand is former police detective Randall Johnson. He testifies that Patricia dropped off Yaser Saeed's ammo box to him after the deaths of Amina and Sarah.
Yes.
Okay, tell us what's contained in this box. Pull them out. I know this is the So 3, if you can read me the brand name on the live bullet that was found in the magazine.
It's a Winchester 9mm Luger.
Winchester 9mm.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm now handing you what's been previously admitted as State Exhibit 56. Will you look at these 6 shell casings, and it should be identified on the outside, and tell me their brand names for B, C, D, F, I, and J shell casings.
On the one that's marked B, FC, NP 9mm
So FC?
Luger, yes.
What about C?
On C, it is a FC 9mm Luger.
Shell casing D?
D is a FC 9mm Luger.
Shell casing F?
F is a FC 9mm Luger.
Shell casing I?
I is a FC 9mm Luger.
Casing J.
J is an FC 9mm Luger.
Now I would like you to take a look at shell casing E and shell casing H.
On E, it is a Winchester 9mm Luger. H is a Winchester 9mm Luger.
So these shell casings, Winchester and FC, are the same shell casing types that you found in the ammo box that we just reviewed.
Yes.
Thank you for your assistance.
Jihad Tafal takes the stand next. He's so freaking cute. He's so cute. I'm obsessed with this little man. He met Yaser while working. They both drove taxis together. They were not friends. They were simply co-workers. And during a conversation one night, he mentions to Yaser that his wife's family will be coming to visit so that he won't be working for about a week.
Or jet taxi.
Yes. Oh, that was in 2007.
2007?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of cab were you driving in 2007? Model and the color.
Oh, the color is like orange.
It was orange?
Yes, and I think it was a Taurus cab.
And a Taurus.
Yes.
So when you would drive in Irving, where would you usually work? Was there a specific place that you would go maybe in the daytime or in the nighttime to get more customers?
Yeah, daytime usually I go to the FW. Nighttime I go like to Northwest, which is Northwest Highway, which is a bunch of restaurants and gentlemen clubs.
Okay. So let me ask you, so daytime you would go to the airport?
Sometimes it depends. Yes.
Okay, and you pick up passengers there?
Yes.
And then nighttime, where would you go?
I go like Northwest Highway, which is where all the restaurants and clubs.
Did they have a gentleman's club over there?
Oh yes.
What was the name of that gentleman's club?
The Lodge.
The Lodge.
That's the famous one.
That's the famous one. While you were working, did you ever come into contact with an individual by the name of Yaser Saeed?
Yes.
Okay, how did you meet him?
I met him at the Gentleman Club. That's the first time I met him.
At that time, did Yaser drive for jet taxi? Do you know?
As far as I know,
Okay. What color was his cab?
I believe it was white.
So you're working, you meet Yaser, and you just begin talking? before?
Yes, yes, chatting, talking about business most of the time, joking.
Would you say that you and Yaser Saeed were friends, acquaintances? Had you ever met his family? Had you ever been invited to his house?
Never. Or just we meet each other when we work, that's it. We never have any social life between my family and his family.
Yaser then asks him if he could borrow his cab for the week. So this puzzles him at first until Yaser tells him that he doesn't like the guy that he's leasing from.
Yes, it would be 4, 5, 4, 3, I don't remember exactly, but it was before Christmas.
You see Yaser and he's at the Denny's parking lot?
Yes.
Okay. And does Yaser come up to speak to you?
I saw him, I think he came out, then I saw him, we say hi together when we end up then in the parking lot of the gas station.
Okay. Does he have his white taxi?
Yes, it still he has, yeah.
And then you have your orange?
My orange cab, exactly.
What does Yaser say to you?
He didn't actually, like I said, we start talking together about the business. Then I mentioned to him, listen, I'm going to turn in my cab to the owner because my wife family coming to visit in Christmas. I don't want to keep the cab and pay for it while the cab's sitting at home. He said, well, I like to have it. I said, okay, what about your...
Let me stop you there, Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Tavares, excuse me. So you're just talking and you tell him, hey, my wife's family's coming in town for Christmas.
Exactly.
Okay? And I'm not going to be able to make any money because I'm going to be at home.
You lease it weekly.
You lease it weekly?
Yeah, and you have to sign with the big company, yeah, with the main company.
So you sign a contract with Jet Taxi?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, whoever owned the cab.
So in this case, you knew you were not going to make any money because your wife's family was coming to town and your cab would just sit there, but you would still have to pay a weekly fee.
Exactly, that's correct.
So you tell Yaser Saeed, hey, my wife's family's coming in town, I'm not going to be using my cab, I'm going to give my cab back to the fleet owner.
Exactly.
And what does Yaser Saeed tell you?
He said, I would like to have it. I said, how come? You already have a cab. He said, oh, the guy I deal with, I'm not happy with him. I said, okay.
So he tells you that he wants your cab.
Yes, ma'am.
And your response is, why?
Yeah, exactly. He said, I'm not happy with the guy, which is, I guess his name Masood. He said, I'm not happy with him. I said, okay.
Jihad calls his owner and asks if this is okay. So the owner knows Yaser and tells him that this is fine. The owner tells him that he must come down to Jet Taxi the following morning because it was late, so the office was already closed. He has to come down to Jet Taxi the following morning and he has to sign paperwork to state that he is using the car.
So you call Abdul, who is the fleet owner.
He's the owner.
Orange Taxi.
Yes.
At Orange Taxi for Jet Taxi.
Yes.
Jet Taxi Company.
Exactly.
Okay. And you tell Abdul, Yaser wants the cab, the orange cab.
Yes, ma'am.
And Abdul says, okay, fine, but Yaser must sign paperwork.
The way he said it, he can have it, that means okay to give to him, and because it was night time. I mean, the company office is closed. He said, let him have it, then tomorrow he can go and take care of the paperwork.
So not tonight, because the office is closed.
Exactly. It was like...
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But tomorrow, Yaser needed to go
He's
and
supposed...
sign his own contract.
Exactly.
Like you did.
Exactly.
With Jet Taxi.
That's right.
Okay? And that was communicated to Yaser Saeed as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
He asks Yaser when he wants the cab, and Yaser tells him tonight. So Jihad says, okay. Yaser leaves the cab at the gas station, and Yaser drops him off at his home. So this was prior to Christmas. He says he keeps in touch with Yaser, asking him if he signed the paperwork, and Yaser keeps giving him excuses as to why he couldn't sign the paperwork yet. He promises he will, and then he never hears from him.
What happened, like I said, I told him, when you want the cab? He said, oh, I want it tonight. I said, what about your cab? He said, okay, we can leave it at the gas station. I said, okay, let's go talk to the cashier at the gas station. I asked him, listen, my friend want to leave his cab for tomorrow, he will come pick it up tomorrow. He said, that's fine, no problem. When he came with me, he dropped me off in my house, and he took over the cab.
You get out of the car, and you give Yaser Saeed the keys.
Exactly, and he took off.
So now he has possession and control of that orange taxi.
That's correct.
Okay. You think that was around December 21st, December 22nd?
It's still before Christmas, yes.
Do you have any more contact with Yaser Saeed?
Yes.
Do you talk to him on the phone? Do you see him out?
I did call him on the phone like in a couple of days.
A couple days later, you talk to him on
Yeah, after he got the cab, I called him like in a couple of days. Yes, ma'am.
Why did you call him?
To make sure everything okay, that he went to the company. I asked him what's going on. He said, oh, actually, I didn't do anything. I said, what's wrong? He said, I have some issues or problem with my kids. I said, well, when you have kids, you know, that's part of life. You know, that means when you have kids, you're going to have some issues. And he said, I didn't work. I said, well, you need to work because you need to pay your lease to Abdul and make sure you contact the company. That's the last time I talked to him.
So you give him instructions, hey, you need to work because you're going to have to pay that weekly lease?
Yes, and make sure you contact the company. I mean, I want to make sure the company know you're driving the car. I don't want to keep the car. Exactly. I don't want to keep in my car. Guess God forbid have an accident or something. I'm going to be responsible.
Right, or worse.
Exactly.
This is the taxi cab that Amina and Sarah would eventually be found in.
Hear from Yaser Saeed. Do you hear from him again?
Never.
Are you contacted about that cab?
I'm sorry.
By the Irving police.
Oh, yes.
Irving police contact you about
Yes.
the taxi
Yeah,
cab?
yeah, it was on January 1st, 2008.
Do you remember who called you?
Actually, the owner, Abdul, called me. When he told, yeah, the owner of the cab, he said, hey, one of the Irving police officer want to talk to you. He just asked me, do you know what Mr. Saeed or Yaser is?
Did you communicate with the Irving police?
Yes.
Okay. Were they trying to find out or find you? Were they trying to locate you?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
what information did you give the Irving police?
I mean, you mean the January 1st?
Yes, January 1st.
Or he just asked me, do you know where Mr. Saeed is? I said, no. That's the only thing he asked me. He said, do you have an idea where he be? I said, no, I have no idea.
Okay, guys, if you're still here, thank you. I appreciate you so very much. Okay, I'm going to have another one coming out, so we're going to finish off the rest of the trial, just days 4, 5, 6. Thank you again to Tammy Wilkinson. Thank you. A million thank yous to Jon Chrymes. Make sure you guys go check him out. He's a really sweet guy. Check out his channel. And until next time, I love you guys.